because it's a new demon arc, water is trash. There is zero reason to pick water because Hantegu, or whatever his name is, now exists. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to call him Haunty, just because it's easier. I don't know what the devs are thinking, but Haunty is just busted open. Like seriously, who thought this was a good idea to give this class so many moves? It literally is water but on steroids, and this video is going to be an explanation on why that is. Before we start, I'm going to make it clear that everything I'm about to say is from objectivity, not subjectivity. I will be looking at each of the moveset's properties and abilities in terms of utility and cross-compare them to show an end result. Firstly, we're going to go over some basic vocabulary for the select few of you people who don't know what basic game mechanics are, and this vocabulary pertains to something called move archetypes. There are 6 basic move archetypes that abilities can slot into. Sometimes they slot into multiple of these archetypes. There's tracking moves, barrage moves, guard break moves, movement moves, evasive, and counters. Tracking moves, as the name implies, are abilities that track down and home in on your opponent. Usually they are the best neutral game combo starters. Barrage moves are abilities that hit super fast and deal tick damage, making it good for countering M1 pressure. Guard break moves are abilities that are used to get past someone's block. Evasives are moves that break combos. Counters are moves that activate upon being hit. Now that we know the basic move archetypes, let's start comparing Hantegu or Haunty and water. These are some of water's moves: Flowing Dance, Waterfall Basin, Constant Flux, and Dead Calm. Flowing Dance is a defensive move that is multi-hit and has a guard break property on the last hit of the form. It's easy to dodge if you are blocking and see it coming. It's good for countering pressure and is a very defensive move. It's not very good at chasing, not a tracking move. Waterfall Basin is your classic guard break move. It has armor property and ignores attacks, but you still take damage, and can be used offensively and defensively. Dead Calm is a counter that doubles as a ranged tracking attack, used both offensively and defensively. Constant Flux is your ultimate with armor, armor break, guard break, and multi-hit property. Albeit a very solid move that does 40 damage, it's a very good combo move. Combining all of these moves allows you to instant kill an opponent with one combo. It is pretty powerful. I can see why people put water as A and S on the tier lists. And then there's Haunty. These are Haunty's moves: Sorrow, Anger, Pleasure, Joy, and Hatred. Yes, I'm including Sorrow because the M2 is pretty much like the most busted M2 in the game. Sorrow has the best M2 block breaker in the game of the basic weapons. It's an area of effect block. It's easy to counter, but it's still the best block breaker that we have at the moment. Anger, this is a close range tracking move that does fast tick damage, and it also doubles as a block breaking, armor breaking, eye-framed, armored grabs that is impossible to react to when combined with M1 pressure. You can even dash above it into barrage moves and grab opponents out of them. Also, it's unpunishable. Additionally, it works like Dance M1 and Flying Sickles. It procs even if you get hit. So the armor is actually unintentional because it procs anyways, it gets it anyways. It's the best tracking archetype move next to Unknowing Fire from Flame Breathing. Pleasure. So you know the air type move from Akaza? Yeah, we basically just ripped it from there, and it's that move but just 10 times better. The M1 variant is a straight blast that is good at mid-range neutral game and it can bypass shields. It breaks block and wall combos but doesn't deal damage, or a lot of it, without a wall. The M2 variant is just air type but instantaneous, breaks block, has iframes, and it is AoE. It's busted. Also, it's unpunishable. Joy, your classic evasive, but with a twist. Why? Because this evasive is completely unpunishable, even on a hard read. No matter what happens, the user jumps into the air and is impossible to hit even if you backdash away from it. You can't block it either. Also, it's only a 20-second cooldown, the shortest of them all. I would call it the best evasive in the game next to Maru Throwback. Additionally, it also acts as a moving grab that can combo extend from Afro Dash move stack. It breaks block and armor because it's a grab and is also practically unpunishable. Hatred. Haunty's ultimate move. Now we only can speculate what it does right now since the sneak peek is in Discord and we haven't actually seen it in the game yet, but it looks like you point your finger at the enemy and the enemy decides to commit unliving. It's both a combo starter and an extender, and it's instantaneous, and it's ranged, and it's unpunishable. Now that I think about it, I think I'm starting to notice a little bit of a pattern here. Every single special ability that Haunty has right now has 2 variants, they all break block, and they are all unpunishable. And Haunty doesn't even need his ultimate that's soon to be released. He already has an instant kill combo. The combo without Joy, if you're saving the evasive with just Anger and Pleasure starting from M1, it does 75 damage or 80 damage. That's ridiculous. That's like equivalent to Sun's combo, but Sun's moves takes 3 of his moves, including his evasive, to deal 75 and 80 damage. Haunty doesn't even need to use its evasive to do that much damage. Oh, it's also about time I go to why water is completely useless now. So let's cross-compare now. Waterfall Basin, it breaks block. Every single one of Haunty's moves break block, and they have a better hitbox for it. Every single one of Haunty's moves is better than Waterfall Basin. Dead Calm M1 is a counter used defensively when the enemy is pressuring you or you're making hard reads. Pleasure does the exact same thing and does it better. It isn't a counter per se, but it activates anyways and it puts you in the air out of harm's way. Additionally, you use it at the same way. When the enemy is pressuring you, you click Pleasure. It's a massive AoE that hits multiple people, and if they attack, you hit this button. There's nothing they can do against you. Dead Calm M2, ranged water tracking move. Anger does this, and it does it better, and it has better tracking. You can't dodge it. You can block it on reaction, but you can't dodge it. Also, it's a cooldown that's faster by like 15 seconds. Dead Calm M2 has a 30-second cooldown. Anger does have less stun and less range, but it does fast tick damage, and because of this, you can actually pass off teammate combos. If they end a combo, usually the next person, the teammate, can't get a combo off because they're invincible because they've been hit by the first person. But because of Anger, it doesn't give the enemy a chance to dash or block because it does fast tick damage. And it's also better for causing and countering pressure because, as I said before, armor and iframes, also it's a dashable grab. You don't have to walk up to the enemy shield to use it. You can dash it and make it unreactable. Flowing Dance, a movement and defensive counter to pressure, and it breaks block. Joy, also a movement, but it breaks block on the first hit. However, this can be easily parried outside of combos. But Joy M1 variant also works as an evasive. So guess what water has? Not an evasive. Constant Flux. S tier ult, a great ult, breaks armor, grants you armor, multi-hit, and does 40 damage. Hatred, we don't know enough about the new ult, but it already looks busted as is. I think it's pretty safe to say that they're both evenly matched, but honestly I would say Hatred is better because you can just click on them, it's instantaneous, and has no end lag, and you can't get hit out of it, I'm assuming. However, one thing about Constant Flux, it gets countered by Joy. The evasive Joy literally can hit someone using Constant Flux out of them. It beats out their ult. The same thing can be said for Anger. Because it's a grab, it literally breaks Constant Flux. If you time it right and dash into them and use it, you have iframes and armor, you will literally break their ult and they won't be able to use it at all. So not only is Haunty just a better pick for water, it is the direct counter for water. It is unstoppable. So ending notes. Water doesn't have an evasive. Haunty does. Haunty and water play exactly the same way. You just keep pressuring, and if they pressure you, you have good defensive abilities when combined with M1. They are the kings of defensive ability next to Akaza. And for that reason, both are countered by running and blocking moves on reaction. But Haunty has better block breaks because all of them can very easily break block and have better hitboxes and harder to react to. And Haunty also has AoE moves that are both unpunishable and break those blocks. Water doesn't have AoE moves besides like Constant Flux, if that's even considered in a area effect move. Whatever Water has, Haunty just has something that beats it in utility and damage, and cooldowns. Haunty doesn't even need his ult to instant kill the enemy. Water needs all 4 of his special moves to actually instant kill an enemy. Haunty doesn't even need the ult, it already has a touch of death. So the final verdict, Water is just outshined by everything Haunty has, and Haunty isn't even a full class. The way Haunty is built is basically Water, but on steroids. When I say this class needs a nerf, I mean it. With this class, everyone will be maining him versus Water because there's literally zero reason to even look at Water when Haunty just does the same thing but easier and better. It already has a touch of death, and it doesn't even have his ult yet. Paired that with every single move breaks block, is unpunishable, and combined with M1 is great, and he has an evasive with a super short cooldown, unable to stop on a hard read, unblockable, undashable, and it deals damage, and it also beats out ults. It's no contest. Devs, listen to me. Nerf this class.